ones, which are the past perfect and the past perfect continuous. So here, okay, the pilot was very experienced and had flown this route many times before. So this kind of expresses the past perfect is kind of the earlier past. So let's say you're here in the present moment, right? In the present moment, you're telling a story about the past, okay? So the story you're telling happened here, but you want to give some time about the earlier past. So you're referring to this here, right? So this would be, and in the context of the article we just read, maybe I'm talking to you over dinner, we're in the present moment, and I'm telling you about a time when there was a fake announcement on the plane. We're in the past. But before this fake announcement, the pilot did this. So it's before the main event that I'm describing in the past. Does that make sense? How do we make the past perfect? So we have had, and then what?
The
Been.
third form of the
No, sorry, past
third form.
yeah.
Past participle.
Past participle.
Yeah. So,
Past
yeah.
participle. Very
verb
good.
plus ed or the third column past participle, right?
Mm-hmm. So how would we express this? So I might say I studied abroad in Spain, but before I did that, so here I'm telling you all about I studied abroad in Spain. Here is where I did that, but I did all of these things before that event. So how could I describe that? Before
I had gone to Spain.
I
had
gone to Spain.
I had studied Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
I had met.
Mm-hmm.
I had met many Spanish people.
Good. Very good. Good. All right. So now, is this clear? Is this clear here before I move on to the next one?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about the continuous, which can be a little bit harder.
Mm-hmm.
So when the announcement was made, the plane had been flying for about 3 hours. So we use this to show that an action started in the past and continued up into another point in the past. So for example, we're here, I'm telling you the story in the present moment about the announcement that was made, right? And the announcement that had been made is a past moment from the present. The plane started flying here and it did this until this other past moment. So it's a duration here between two past events. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a little bit difficult.
It can be difficult to remember this when you're speaking, especially. I totally understand that. But as long as you understand the concept, then eventually it will get easier to include it when you're speaking. I find I work with a lot of students and I find a lot of them don't really understand why we use this tense. So if you don't understand why, it will be impossible to use. So if you can understand why, then you're halfway there. Okay. And another thing to note is that we can only use the past perfect continuous with action verbs. So we don't normally use stative verbs at all in any kind of continuous or progressive tense. Can you think of what is a stative verb?
Good question.
Stated there is a kind of sorry, I don't know the word. Abstractive words like knowledge, love.
Yes, they are more.
Yeah, abstract.
Some words are related to statement.
Not necessarily to statements, but they're usually related to like emotions or states.
Yeah, emotions, feelings, right.
So for example, you wouldn't really say liking. Like you could say, you don't really say I am liking this, you would say I like this. We don't usually use these types of verbs in continuous tenses. So like or
And
believe.
Yeah, no.
or love.
A taste as well, smell. Taste.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And understand.
Yeah.
Believe.
Yeah,
No,
understand is
no, understand.
Mhm. Good.
Or watch, see.
Believe.
Good. Believe is also, yep. Good. Good. So these are the types of verbs that we don't normally use in this type of tense. So how do we form the past perfect continuous?
Verb plus ing. Had been like on the left, yeah. And verb plus ing.
Maybe gerund.
Yeah, or this is also known as a gerund. Yes, that's correct. It's also known as a gerund. But if you don't want to memorize the grammatical names of things, that's fine. You can just say verb plus ing.
Present participle as well.
Yeah, or yes, present
Yeah.
participle is also correct. Many different names for the same thing. All right, so what if you wanted to say this? I went to the dentist yesterday, but before I went to the dentist, these things were happening to me over a period of time.
My tooth had been hurting
last night.
Good. My tooth had been hurting. What about the next one?
I had been getting headaches.
Good. Frequently. Good. And the last one?
I
hadn't been sleeping well.
Good. Very good. Okay. Great. Do you have any questions about this? It's complicated, I know, but with practice, it will start to make more sense. So first I want to just cover two things. So why would we use the past perfect simple or the past perfect continuous? What's the difference? So I had worked versus I had been working, right? Much like we mentioned, this emphasizes completion. I had worked. Whereas this is something that was in progress until another event in the past interrupted it. So for example, right, let's compare these last two sentences here. The builders had put up the scaffolding around the house. Scaffolding is kind of like a roof, right? The builders had put up the scaffolding around the house. So this means that it's finished. They actually completed doing this. Or here, the builders had been putting up the scaffolding when the roof fell. So this was the action that was happening in the past for a duration of time until this interrupted it.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Excuse me, Gabby. So I have a question about the second sentence. Sorry.
That's okay.
So here, after the roof fell in, so the builders had been putting up the scaffolding. Yes.
You mean, so the roof fell in and then they were
at first, the roof fell in at the first, and then the builders had been putting up the scaffolding. No.
No, I wish.
No.
Let me see if I can draw this for you, because I think that will be helpful. I don't know if I can do that on here.
Then can build.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a whiteboard, and I will take a picture of this and include it in the slideshow so you can look at it after. So what this means is that here we'll start a draw. Is that what I would use? Yeah. Okay. So here is this, they start. Oh my gosh, that's not going to work. Hold on. With the X. they start building the roof or the scaffolding. Okay, they started this here. And then, right, they continue, oh no,
Yeah.
drop.
Mhm.
They continue, right? They're trying to complete this event here, but then here, the roof falls in. So they're not able to keep going with this action. It's interrupted in the middle. So maybe they wanted to finish, maybe they wanted to finish here being,
Mhm.
but they can't because this action in the past interrupted this action.
They stopped doing
Yeah, because this roof fell down.
because the interruption happened.
Exactly.
Thank you
It
very
was an
much, Gabby.
obstacle.
Interruption, right? This is the interruption. They had to stop. So it could be that they, I mean, there's not enough context here. It could be that they continued after. So maybe they could have fixed what happened. They could have fixed the interruption and continued going, but you don't know that based on the information we have. According to just this sentence, that's what it describes. They started something, they were trying to finish it, but then something interrupted them and they had to stop.
Thank you very much, Gabby. You have me clear the confusion. Thank you.
Good. I know that this can be quite confusing. So what I'm also going to do is I'm just going to take a picture of this so I can put it in the slideshow, and you can access that later. Okay.